Okay. So tonight we talk about radio stroke public speaking. There's a lot to talk about in those areas because whether you like it or not, if you are training to be um, a world changer, if you're training to be Hadija, good to have you. You're the first one on the call. If you're training to be a transformer, if you're training to be a gladiator or to be a person that brings hope in people's lives, and a person that changes, the trajectory of people's, destiny, a person that is a bearer of good news, a person that is a life changer, you cannot do that without speaking in one way, or people cannot read your heart, so you'll have to come out of your shell and speak. And I know public speaking is one thing that so many people are not confident about. And Nahawe, thank you, good to have you, thank you for joining us. And I know that it's quite intimidating for so many of us. We've done so many series about public speaking, and I know that you have all those notes, you have all those videos to watch. And just a reminder that you have over 100 videos to watch on the private platform, over 100 videos. Now, that is how far we have gone. 100 videos, and it's only about 15 videos that are under 1 hour. All the rest of the videos are actually 53 minutes and between 50 and 53 minutes. So you see, we have quite a mile or quite a distance to cover. But I know that we can actually do that. We can actually keep reminding ourselves. And the reason as to why I don't take you off once you enroll, I don't take you off the private group, is because I know that one day, one time, you'll want to come and look at branding, personal branding. You'll want to come back and just refresh your mind about public speaking, about book writing, about confidence building, about who a real counselor is supposed to be, who a mentor is supposed to be, what is the difference, finding your niche. So there's so many things that we have talked about, but now we have over 100 videos on the platform. So please don't cheat yourself. And right now they are numbered. Sarah, good to have you. I hope the baby is fine. And even if you've gone through this and maybe you didn't get a chance to see some of the videos, please make sure that you go and see most of the videos and watch most of the videos, because right now they are searchable. That's the difference. Back then they were not searchable. Right now you can search. You just do hashtag day 1, hashtag day 2, hashtag day 3, up to hashtag 100. Okay, so you can go in the order and be able to watch. And one thing I must warn you, not even one, but urge you, for those that are just coming in, for those that are in the last lot or the last cohort, do not miss day 70 to 100. Do not dare miss. Okay, yes, I know they come in last, but do not, if you are to miss anything, do not miss day 70, between 70 to 100. That is going to answer so many questions that I know you want to ask me, but some of you are like, oh, will be disturbing her. No, if I am your mentor, you cannot be disturbing me. Even if you send me a text, whichever time, even if it's about your personal life, it's about this journey of mentorship, I'll definitely get back to you. Why? Because I signed up for this. I know what I got myself into, and I know it's a full-time thing. And I know that until you're ready to fly solo and say, you know what, Bahati, I don't think I need you anymore. I mean, until then, I can let you fly. But right now, we're still on this journey, and I'm enjoying doing this journey together with you. Okay, I'm having fun. Whenever you write those comments, whenever you write your take-home points, whenever you submit your assignments, that makes it fun to see that there is a growth, there is a commitment, and there is a love for this particular thing. Edrina Kabugo, good to have you. Good evening, Major Coach. And fellow coaches. Remember, I have a cough, but I keep working with my cough. I will not rest. Okay. If we can add on a mile today, then that will be really impactful, and it will make me happy. So we just have an hour here, which hour has gone quite a bit, but let's dive into it. Now, if you're watching, you let me know, because we have all the mix up. We have the gladiators, the transformers, the world changers, the freedom seekers on here. So welcome, welcome. In case you have a question, please make sure that you drop it up here. And yes, doctor, he's very fine and peaceful. Wow, that's beautiful. And yes, Annette, you're saying, wow, 100. Yes, 100 videos. So you go and search them out and be able to, the notes, I'm going to make them searchable as well. I've been dropping notes quite often, but I've not been marking them, so I'm going to be marking them so you can be able to search randomly and find them. Okay, Favor, good to have you. Finally, good to have you. I'm so happy when you came back, and I'm glad that we're doing this journey together. And then this is Tebesi Gwa from Kenya. Good to have you as well. Sharon, good to have you. JM, the famous JM Kakembo, good to have you. Now, we have the number to start. The rest will actually start get us going. Remember last time, that is last Thursday, we had we had a session, and we talked quite a lot. Some of the things that I want us to just recap in this video, so we can be able to understand what it is that we missed. Okay, we were talking about an introduction basically, and we talked about an introduction. Definitely, if you are having a radio station, it's a radio show, and you're hosting it. Madam President, Christine Segawa, good to have you. Shalom to you too. Okay, so just a recap for those that missed, we talked about the introduction, and we say that it's the most powerful thing. It's better that you mess up your content, but you don't mess up your introduction. Because if you mess up your introduction, that means I am losing complete interest. So even if you bring gold in the content, in the body, and yet you served me mud in the introduction, my friend, I will not scoop any mud. So I will just walk away. I will not wait for the gold. Okay, now most people think if I'm not if I'm not so well conversant with the introduction, you know, I can shake a bit until I find my footing, and, and then after that I can be able to dive into the content. Yes, if you are in a church, people will not walk out, definitely. They'll be like, you know what? Katumugumire, maybe this person is our pastor, or maybe this person is a youth leader, or what. Church is a bit lenient, okay? Even if you come and fumble around, shake around, you know, throw jokes that are not funny, people will be there to watch you because they came to church. So they will give you your time and then they will walk away. But still, even in church, people can decide to walk away and never come back. And they'll be like, you know what? I don't think this is my feeding place. Because people come to places, people go to conferences, people tune on or put on the radios or TVs to be blessed. Maybe they're going through a particular thing, and maybe that's not the thing that you're going to touch on. But again, you're giving them hope in another angle. Okay, so someone tunes on the radio, and so many testimonies that we have had, and I know that people that are on the mentorship that have been getting testimonies from the listeners, they have been incredible testimonies where people have wanted to commit suicide, and they have been able to be helped on the radio show, and they've been able to call in. People give out their numbers. And so many marriages have been mended, so many broken hearts have been helped, so many people have been helped career-wise, personal development, financially, like to be able to stabilize their financials and manage their financials so well. So that means we are doing this to be able to add value to people. You are speaking on radio, you are hosting a TV show, you are doing a public speaking engagement. just to add value. Even the round tables that we do, the success tables that we do, we are adding value, okay? But just look at this. If you don't know how to introduce yourself on a success table and to explain what a success table is and to explain what is the end gain and to be able to show people where they belong and how they come in and what kind of help they get out of this, believe me, I will listen halfway and maybe I will walk away, because sorry about that. Some of these platforms have given us options. And let me tell you, humanity is really, really funny, because people have given us options. For example, if you're on Twitter Spaces, you can leave quietly, like minus disturbing anyone. People will notice you're around and the next minute you're not around. On what's this, Clubhouse, you can live quietly. I mean, on these platforms like what, Google Meet, you can live quietly. On Zoom, you can live quietly. So that means people have options. And now they don't just have the options of living quietly, even on YouTube, as you can live quietly, but they even have options of other people that they can listen to. So that means there are thousands of radio shows, there are thousands, millions of TV shows, there are thousands of YouTubers, there are thousands of public speakers that have given good content, amazing content, okay? And so if you do not measure up, no one is going to wait for you. No one is waiting for you, okay? So I want you to be able to long to get to your A game. I want you to have this, okay? And I want you to have it for real. So we say that an introduction, it's very simple, but it hooks your audience, okay? And then it shows a higher level of professionalism. When you give a short, precise, straight to the point introduction. I'm Bahati Hilda Sabiti, and I'm a relationship expert and people developer. And I mean, when I was invited to speak to the youths about sexual purity, this is a topic that touches my heart. And I know that it will, you speak, but you show your passion. We didn't even talk about being audible, being loud enough. No one is going to listen to you on radio while you are whispering. No, I'm not going to listen to you. I will leave you whispering and I will go look for another person who speaks, like they mean it, who speaks with confidence, okay? So, it doesn't mean you have to speak in a speedy way. For example, I am a very speedy speaker. So, and if you tone me down, I'm not going to give you what you want. But there are so many of us that are actually, we can tone down our speed and we can be able to speak at a good, smooth speed and we can be able to emphasize. I also admire those people. But me, I am Kalacha. I speak on top of my voice. I don't need a microphone, and I speak at a very high speed, and I know that actually, this is who I am. I'm not going to change who I am. So take me or leave me. This is what you see is what you get, okay? So it shows high levels of professionalism. Let's go very quickly on the recap, and then it shows your dedication into making the people see what it is that you want them to see. The dedication, okay? The fluency, the competence, okay? You want to show them that, yes, I'm the master at this. I know what I'm talking about, okay? And in a nutshell, you can be able to wrap that up in an introduction so that I'm actually anticipating. It's like walking into a restaurant and it smells food and the food smells good. That's an introduction, because then my intestines are ready to take in. I'm like, you know what? I can't wait for my order to get here. But the moment I get into a restaurant and it smells sewage, my friend, I will not order for food. I will walk away, go to the next restaurant. Okay, so we talked about it being number 2 or number 3, it being a way to reinforce your brand, okay? And we have created brands, and I say that for as long as you're on social media, you're already a brand. Now, for those of us that have actually known that being a brand is a huge thing, we have gone a notch higher to get mentorship, to get equipped, to get in the circles of like-minded people, to see what other people are doing, so that we can actually strategically position ourselves and our brands. So when you say that I'm a brand, and I'm a brand that is maybe a coach. My brand is to do with charity. My brand is to do whatever it is. Now, what you do, what an introduction reinforces your brand, because the moment you introduce yourself as the CEO of this, okay, because yeah, most of you are CEOs. I mean, you're starting up things, you're starting up organizations, you're going to start up clubs, you're going to start up memberships, and you are going to be the CEOs of those memberships. Okay, so you can say, I'm the founder of this, I'm the CEO of this, or you can say, I'm passionate about this. Okay, so it reinforces your brand. I'm passionate about a girl child, I'm passionate about the underprivileged, those that are not privileged. I'm passionate about the children, okay, and how we bring them up, about parenting and the hassles the parents go through, okay. You're passionate about something, so it reinforces your brand, okay, and it creates familiarity. Your introduction creates familiarity, because as you get up, as they say, you know what, oh, let's join our hands and welcome JM Kakembo, and the drum rolls are going. Now when you show up on stage, everyone is like, who is JM Kakembo? And this age and era, people are on their phones typing in JM Kakembo. Before you know it, they've gotten, and Google will give them everything about you, whether you're an author, and then you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, and then they will go read a bit of your content, and they'll be like, yeah, according to Twitter, she's actually a coach, or according to this, she's actually this and this. That is why it's so crucial. When I gave you the assignments and told you to write your short biographies, or short as an introducing yourself to the world, I meant it. Because then it helps you. No one will ever ask, when someone Googles your name, they know automatically that this is who she is, and this is what I expect from her. And it should be straight to the point and very precise. So apart from reinforcing, it creates familiarity, and a good kind of familiarity, that someone knows, okay, and then someone will be like, I've never read her book, and someone will be like, no, I've watched her videos, or I follow her on social media. So when you come and reintroduce yourself to them, they're like, yeah, that's the lady, okay. And so it causes people to actually lean into you and listen to you and warm up to you, and not want to take their eyes off you, and give you their attention, okay. And we say that it helps when you introduce yourself, you're actually adding a positive expectation, okay, from the audience. You're telling them what to expect. Some of us, when we introduce ourselves, we don't tell them what to expect. But it's so crucial to actually tell the people what to expect, that after this presentation, these are the expectations. This is what your take home is going to be. Engage them. Let them answer some questions. Okay, and that means if you are, this is public speaking, but if you are on radio, you can actually just throw random questions and say, keep them in mind, think about them, answer them. As we go along, you will see the reason as to why I told you to write down those particular questions. Okay, so I don't want us to take so much time dwelling on that. I would love us to go straight into the body, because after you've introduced yourself, then that means the next thing is you are telling. And in the introduction, we said you actually talk about what it is you're going to be talking about. Part of the introduction, because we said your name comes, and then you give a bit of details about yourself, and after the details about yourself, then you give the reason as to why you are there and the topic that you're going to talk about, and then you bring in the conclusion for the introduction. Okay, so after that conclusion, remember you've already given them the topic of discussion, be it on radio, on TV, public speaking, because we're handling these together. They go hand in hand. How you do it on radio, how you do it, yes, might differ a bit, the tactics and the applicability, but again, the criteria is the same. So now you're actually diving into the topic of the day. And so I want us to go from How do you even get the topic if you're on radio? Because remember, on radio, then you have to get the topic. Or someone has given you the topic. So we'll talk about both scenarios. And even for the event or public speaking, we'll talk about if you have to look for the topic or if you have to lean or depend on the person that has invited you to actually come up with the topic. Okay? So, okay. Okay, so let's talk about both scenarios first, because then content has to be created in whichever way. So someone invites you, let me say on radio, and let's talk about the scenario of being invited. Someone invites you on radio and tells you, I want us to talk about women and how they can be financially independent. Okay, this person has already set a topic for you. That means now your job is to actually research. A time will come when you don't need to research. Like right now, I'm speaking from my experience, but if you had given me to talk about radio, public speaking, and TV hosting, maybe 15 years ago, I would have gone deep into research about it, okay? Now, that means you have to go into a research mode. You have to be able, and then I want to remind us, please do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. What kills us more than anything, why we start shaking and we start thinking we are not confident and we are not ready, is because most of the times we research late. You've been given a topic of discussion for a full month, and then you go about your business. And then the day before the event is when you start rushing. You start researching, okay? You're going to get shallow things. You're not going to get comparisons. You're not going to get who said what according to what and according to, you're not going to get enough references. So you're going to get shallow information and then come and maybe you will look for the outlined ones, and then you will come, you will not even know. Have you ever seen someone who gives you a very good point and you wait for them to explain it and they can't explain it? And you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Okay? So I want you to take research as a very, very huge thing, okay? And research can be done in so many ways. Research can be done on Google. Research can be done by reading a book that is connected to what you're going to talk about. Research can be done by sitting with someone who is knowledgeable. And by the way, even if someone is not knowledgeable, you can pick their mind about a particular topic and ask them, because then you want to give us the contrast. You want to illustrate. You want us to understand. So if you give us all the sides of the coin, then you are painting a better picture. But the moment you give us a 2D picture, we are looking at it, it is static. Anyone can present that. Anyone can, even a P7, if you give them a topic and you want it in 2D, someone can whip up something and they can come and even present it better. So why do we need you? Why do people need you? Why do people tune into your radio show or to your TV show? It's because you put flesh to the bone. Okay? It's because you give them something extra. It's because you dig deep into their minds. That's why whenever we are doing, either it's a radio show with Tim, or I'm doing a TV show, or people will give us the feedback of, you guys, it's like you either came into my mind and knew what I was going through. But did we go into their minds? No. But in our line of work, maybe we have talked to 2-3 people that are going through the same thing, and and remember, we all have different kind of perspectives. So maybe during a discussion, when we're discussing about it, someone came up with a school of thought, and it was so different from ours, and we're like, so this is how people think about this. And then you go to the elites, they look at it differently. And then even when you read, and I'll talk about it later on, because even when I do research these days on Google, because it's the biggest platform, I don't do the research that normal people do. No, I actually go into the chat rooms. Now, that is where the gist of the matter is, because then you get all sorts of questions, and these questions have been asked before. Whatever question you're going to type into Google has been asked before. So I will go to Quora, I will go to chat rooms, and I will read people's perspectives, even if it's just related to what I'm going to talk about. It gives me a glimpse of how the world looks at what I'm going to talk about. And then I'm able to integrate those beliefs, and I'm able to present something that is so rewarding, so helpful, and that means I am catering to my audience. Because the reason as to why you get into the content is to be able to dig up, is to be able to make them understand, is to be able to help them at their point of need. But remember, you're not helping one person. Remember, you're talking to millions of people. And remember, you are not just talking to millions of people. Right now, there are gazillions of people. Because it's a world village right now, okay? It's a global village right now. What you do on radio, you can easily put on a podcast, you can easily put on YouTube, and it will move, and after 10 years, it will have more than millions of likes and millions of views. And that is what we call impacting the world. But if you do kwara work right now, that means, have you ever looked at your work, let me say, 3 years from when you did it, and you're like, this is rubbish? Oh, what was I thinking? What was I even saying? So I want you to put your mind to it. Whenever you are given a topic to discuss, whenever you have a radio show to present, whenever you have a TV show to present, I want to pour your sweat and blood into it. Because make it evergreen, make it relevant, that even 5 years, when someone watches it or listens to it, it's going to be a blessing in their lives. Don't do things for the sake of finishing. No, don't appear and say, let me just go and do it. Even if no one gives you a coin to do what you're doing, remember, we said we deliver, we over deliver, okay? And we make sure that we have touched lives, we have changed someone, and we have helped someone. It's about value addition. Okay, it's about value addition. So the research is very crucial, very, very crucial. So if someone does not give you a topic, and say, for example, tells you, look for a topic in your line of work, I know you've gone through a lot, so maybe you can get something that is that is relatable. That means you have to be able to bounce questions to them. Now, this is particularly for public speaking. You have to be able to ask them. For example, one person from one of us was asking me, if someone does not give you a topic of discussion, but they've invited you to speak, and so I was like, okay, so you have to ask them, what kind of setting am I speaking in? Is it a corporate setting? Is it a church? Is it a mosque? Is it a school? What is it? And then maybe they will tell you, and maybe they can tell you, it's just a group of ladies that come together every weekend, so we usually have these talks. Or maybe it's a corporate setting, maybe it's a church setting. Okay, so already you know the setting. And then you're like, okay, what kind of people come for this, even if it's a conference? What kind of people? Is it a youth conference? Is it a women's conference? Is it a men's conference? Or is it a guys meeting? What is it? And then that person will tell you what, because you're trying to narrow down what you are going to give them, because you cannot give them something ambiguous that touches the whole world. Okay, so, and after that you can ask them, okay, and are they married or single? You have to know. And then you can ask them about their social status. Are they the social status differs, okay? And you can ask, are they the A, B? Are they the C, D, or E, F? Okay, is it the mass market? Are they the high end kind of people? You have to know, because you speak to them differently. The way you speak to high end people is not the way you speak to E and F, because E and F you can easily crack jokes of kwetega, you can crack jokes of tusimbude, but high end people, they have gezi, they know what they know. And some of the people that we speak to or we engage with actually know much more than we know. It's only that it's not their passion to stand up and speak. But when you start speaking, some of them are punching holes into what you're saying. So That means you are actually you have to know the kind of people that you're talking to, so that you can be able to narrow down and say, okay, these people, we have singles and then we have marrieds, and then their average age is around 35 or 35, and then you're like, okay, such people, what are their problems? Remember, we talked about what is that, troubleshooting. Okay, then you're asking yourself, what are their problems? And sometimes, even if you don't get a specific answer, ask, find out. Okay, what do people in this kind of category go through? Okay, maybe some of them have marriage issues, maybe some of them are thinking of retirement, it's so soon, but they have not yet prepared. Maybe some of them have attitude issues, maybe some of them and even don't know what priorities are. Maybe some of them don't know what the difference between success and significance is. So you are trying to figure out what are their problems, and you can write down like 10 of them, and you're like, okay, I will be able to choose from this. And you can be able to actually bounce it back to the person that invited you and say, okay, I have these kinds of topic. And maybe this person will even be excited. They'll be like, oh, number 7 and number 6, those ones out of wow. And then you'll be like, okay, so these are the things that we are going to handle. Now, crossing over to the person that is that is doing radio. Remember again, radio and TV are in two categories. There is radio being hosted by someone. The radio and TV being hosted by someone. Someone has a TV show, someone has a radio show, and they've invited you. And maybe they already have a topic, but it's possible that they also don't have a topic. They're depending on you as an expert to come up with a topic. Definitely you liaise the same thing. You know, what's the target audience? What do you usually talk about? Or you can even go quickly through their Facebook and see what the things they talk about, so that you can come up with something that is in line with what they've been talking about, or tweak a bit and adjust a bit. Category number 3, there is you having a talk show. For example, like we have radio time for the mentorship, and I want us all to have the privilege of being, and that is why I took this time to train you, okay, to be here in my condition. Most of you know my condition. I took time and I was like, you know what, no, if we are going to have the privilege to be on radio, we have to go through this course and be able to know what exactly we have to do. So there is you having, for example, we have said, Coach Molly Nalunga, you have a radio show. I mean, you're going to do a Tuesday, and you're going to do it by yourself, or you're going to do it with someone else. That means you are the driver of this show. That means an introduction is very crucial. Do not meander. Do not go where you're not supposed to go. Do not introduce a show for 10 minutes, okay? Do not speak things that are not relevant. No, do not use a lot of filler words. You know, and we are so happy, so happy. Do not repeat yourself. Because the moment I read that you don't know what you're going to talk about, I am going to switch off. I am going to walk away, okay? So make sure that you actually come with your topic ready. You've come up with a topic. Now that we have segments on the radio, we have finances on Monday, we have, I think, childcare on Tuesday, and then we have relationships on Wednesday, and then we have Thursday, which is personal development, and yes, personal development, and there are so many topics within those. Now, the moment you are given a chance and you're like, you're going to talk about relationships, and you're like, okay, so what do I need to talk about relationships? We have gone through these things on the mentorship. For those of you that have been with me on this journey with me for a long time, that means you can go back and be able to list down what are the issues. Let me tell you, we are not talking about anything else. We're talking about value addition. We're talking about solving people's problems. So if what you're going to talk about does not solve their problems, chiveko. Okay, because if you're dealing, let me say, for example, you're going to come in on Thursday and you're doing people development, and maybe some of the topics you can talk about, because it's an all-rounder, you can talk about why do people take things so personal, what are the effects of people taking things so personal. And someone was actually telling me that, you know what, sometimes I feel like I run out of topics within that particular niche, or within that particular topic or segment of the day, and I'm telling you, you can never run out. You can never run out of topics, okay? But if you write down your topics, that's why I said for those that are currently on radio, I said, you know what, let's put down our topics so that we know that this day we can actually recommend these kind of topics. But even then, as a person, you can be able to work outside of the box to get the topics. Number one, I said research, ask people. If it's not about asking people, I want us to be in the habit of being able to follow other people that are doing what we are doing, what interests us, okay? Because the moment you follow such people, they open your eyes even wider. I'm not saying go and copy. No. I am saying when you follow people that are ahead of you, people that are doing what you admire to do and handle the topics that you admire, and sometimes it will be very random. Maybe on social media, and a topic pops up on Mama Tendo, a topic pops up on Super Mamas, or whichever group it is, and you note it down. You're like, one day I will talk about this, because this really concerns so many people. It can be current affairs. You read newspapers and you find something intriguing and you develop a topic about that. You can be in church and you're listening to, I've gotten topics out of weird places. You can be in church, you're listening to the sermon, and the pastor says something or the priest says something, and you're like, this is something very crucial that I need to talk about. Someone can come to you and they're giving you an issue. It's a counseling session, and maybe someone is pouring their heart to you, and then after that you don't have to use this person's story, but you can say, you know what, let's talk about in-laws and how they intervene in people's marriages. And that is a topic out of someone who brought an issue that you handled it with them, but you are using it as a topic of discussion to be able to profit thousands and millions of people. So we have endless resources, or endless sources of topics, okay? And if you're the kind who, because when we come to speaking, Tim and I, we have totally wild minds, that we can sit there, we can get into studio, and then we look at each other and we're like, okay, so what are we talking about today? And then I look at him, he looks at me, and he's like, okay, if it's business, I have this and this. And so I'm like, okay, if it's relationships, I have this and this. And then we decide, we're like, no, let's do business. And then he actually takes the lead in business. And believe me, I will speak like I prepared for a whole month. But remember, we got into studio without even having a topic. So the things that we have seen along, that is why you should be very attentive as you live this life. You should not just go through life like it doesn't matter. No. But you pick up things from so many different places. You can go to a workplace and pick a thing. You can talk to a fellow coach and pick a thing. Even children, parents, as in different groups of people, can give you things. And even when you Google about on social media and talk about that particular problem, you will find that so many people have discussed that particular problem. So I don't want you to feel like you have exhausted, you have handled everything. You have not handled everything. And then I want us to also understand the segmentation, okay? The segmentation of the radio programs. Right now I'm speaking straight to the radio program that we have, because these are things that we needed to iron out, but I know that it is actually benefiting to all of us, okay? So even when you're supposed to talk about personal development. Personal development includes relationship, it includes parenting, it includes all those things. Relationships wide, you can never exhaustively handle them. Finances wide, you can never fully handle them. And the other secret is, there are people who host podcasts. They don't necessarily have radio shows, but they host podcasts. And there are so many. When it comes to financial coaches, there are thousands and millions of them. And if you just search financial coach on YouTube or on Instagram or on Facebook, you will get thousands of them. And let me tell you, they release weekly blogs, they release weekly podcasts, and they handle different things. So that means you can actually say, you know what, let me see what so and so is doing, what did they post on Twitter, what are they handling right now, what's the trending topic. There are so many ways you can actually get topics, okay? And when you get a topic, definitely you have to make it relevant here. When someone talks about something, you're like, this is something that our people are also facing. And then you're like, okay, let me go into my own research about this particular topic. Don't go listen to their podcast and then after that come and reproduce. No. Just read that topic and you're like, okay, this is quite needed. And you can be the kind of person that says, you know what, if every Monday I have a radio show, that means I can prepare for the next 6 months, that I will never lack any topic. And then you come up with those, with those topics, research about them, write down your notes, and before you know it, you have enough content, okay? So that is it about the radio, the radio shows. If you're the one hosting, even if it's a TV show and you're the one hosting, and even presentation or public speaking, if you're the one being hosted to come and speak, even if you're the one hosting, by the way, it's possible you're going to create an event and you're going to invite people, and we will come. And when we come, we expect a lot from you. And I want to say this. People don't expect that you're going to say new things. And I want us to run away from that. Putting ourselves on pressure to seek new information, to want to impress. You are not speaking to impress. You're not speaking to bombard people with new things and new technologies and new words in the dictionary. No. You are speaking to a layman. Okay? Your best person to target is a P7 dropout. Okay, a P7 dropout, a senior 2 dropout, that is your best person to target. Now, if that person can understand you, a high-end person can understand you. And remember, when you are speaking, even if it's public speaking or radio or TV, you are speaking to one person, because a person has to know that they matter so much that you are able to speak to them. For example, when you say, you don't say, manyi muitira mubinji, manyi muli, ontwalide mu kavuyo. Like, that is kavuyo. But if you tell me that, you know what, I know you are going through a lot right now, and I know that it's a lot to handle, but I want to tell you, I want to promise you today that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you can look at all the videos that I have done, I do it without even noticing it, but I speak to one person. I don't speak to different people, I mean all of us together. Yes, when I need to speak to a group, maybe of mentorship, yes, I can speak to a group, but when I'm doing public speaking, when I'm doing the radio shows, I do it in singular, because that person wants to feel like I am talking to them. Ya inaka radio, ya ina watu de, aina chai tamu, and then you are talking to them, and you're like, those tears are just here for a night, but the morning will come. Take heart. If you want to save, this is how you do it. If you want to grow your money, this is how you do it. If you want to, to invest well, this is how you do it. Okay? Let no one ever tell you that you can never make it. I am speaking to one person. I am not speaking to zillions of people. So when you speak to so many people, people lose interest. They're like, you know what? Maybe Sichange, maybe Choli, maybe, have you seen those scenarios? But when you speak to one person, that person is like, it's like you were talking to me. It's like you were speaking to me. It's like you saw my situation. It's like you knew exactly what I needed at the right time, and you actually came and gave it to me. So I want us to be able to look into that. And apart from speaking to just one person, I want you to make the people care. I want you to be able to break it down, to break down your content, that someone knows that, okay, I can also see myself in this. Break down the content and widen it. Because what happens when we come and we are not so careful, we go into public speaking or into radio, and then we're talking to one category of people. One category. And yet, this is a versatile kind of topic that could have been discussed at totally different angles, okay? So, For example, when I started this, I said we're dealing with radio, public speaking, and TV hosting. And so every one of us can find ourselves somewhere. Whether you're a public speaker, whether you're going to be a TV host, whether you're going to be a radio host. Okay, so Marie, good to have you. So I want you to be able to involve people. I want you to make them care about what you are talking about. I want you to be able to tell them, because some of them maybe right now that's not what they're going through, or they don't see themselves in that place. But again, 5 years from now, maybe they're going to see themselves in that place. Maybe you're talking about parenting, but there are few people in the room who are not parents, and then you have to include them. Make them care about the content that you are giving to them. Let them go out of their place saying, wow, this was an eye-opener, I learned a lot, and I will help other people do it, but when my time comes, I will also put it into practice. You have helped someone who did not necessarily need that information there and then, but you included them in the conversation. And this is where you break it down. You're like, you know what? So many of you are not parents here, but you have been parented. And some of you have been parented badly. Some of you have regrets about who brought you up. Some of you have abandonment issues. Some of you were brought up by narcissistic parents. Some of you were brought up by absent parents. And you can throw a question to them and ask them that, you know what would you choose randomly between an absent parent and a parent that is inconsistent? And maybe someone in the crowd can answer, or maybe even if it's not in the crowd but on radio or on TV. What would you choose? You have sent people into their minds to think an inconsistent versus an absent father, and maybe someone will be like, you know what, I think it's better an absent father, because then they don't raise my hope and then they kill it again. And maybe another person that has not really given it a good thought, like, an inconsistent father, at least wali abera you have caused them to actually think, okay? And you're telling them, you can even tell them, and you're like, would you love to be married to a parent, to an absent father? Would you want that? Or to an absent mother, or an inconsistent one? Or would you want, so they are envisioning themselves in the parenting before their parents, and so they are able to answer those questions back to themselves. And so they're like, that means I have to be very careful about the kind of spouse I choose to be in my life, because they break me or make me, and they break a family or make a family. And so that person has been included in the parenting talk. So when they go and they're asked, what exactly was the talk about? It was about parenting, but oh my, the woman just, blew my mind, because right now I am thinking about the kind of woman I am going to marry. I am thinking about the kind of home that I am going to have. I am thinking, even if I am 5 years away from marriage or 10 years away from marriage, but right now I know at least you have included, you have made them care, you have come with them, because public speaking, radio and TV and presenting and public speaking are a journey. You take people on a journey, okay? And it's a deliberate journey. That means if you're the driver, you have to know where you're taking them. You don't have to be there second guessing yourself. Some of us don't even know how to stipulate the points, okay? So we put the first things last and then the last things first. That is not right. And sometimes we don't know where to place the jokes. We don't know where to take a breather. We don't know, we just don't, it's just fumbling around, okay? I want you to have a structure, because your body has to have a structure. That, you know what, I'm going to talk about these 5 points, and how much time do I have? So when you're doing public speaking, you have to ask, how much time do I have? For example, if you're given an hour, you can say, okay, I'm going to do 40 minutes and do 20 minutes questions and answers. If it's on radio, how much time do I have? And then we will tell you, maybe you have 45 minutes. Why? Because we have 5 minutes of advertisement, and 5 minutes and 5 minutes. So you'll be asking, okay, so how many segments do I have to do? Maybe you have to do 2 segments, and so those, or 3 segments, and each segment is 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, so that you can divide. You can say, okay, I can have an introduction of 2 minutes, and then I can be able to dive into the content, the first content of 13 minutes, and then I can do 15 minutes, and then I can actually seal the program with 15 minutes. So I want us to be very, very deliberate how we break down and how we actually go into the order of whatever it is that we are doing. Illustrations are magical. Illustrations and storytelling, very, very magical. The moment you put out a point and you give an example about it, you are actually, that is why I said, when you give me a point, a P7 kid can give me a point, okay? That is 2D. When you give me an example, you're making it 3D. When you give me an illustration, you're making it 4D or 5D. So I'm able to see all the dimensions. I'm able to be wowed. I'm able to have the goosebumps on my back. I'm able to say, oh my God, I had never seen it. I'd never looked at it like this. So that means we have a long way to be able to colorate, to be able to bring together the different elements, okay? And sometimes when we speak from the heart, you don't have to speak so much. You can actually speak one point for 5 minutes, and or for 10 minutes if it has a long expression, or if it has because remember, again on radio, you don't want to give too much, because maybe you will come back again, okay? So that means you want to limit your content, but again you want to be able to illustrate it and give examples, appropriate examples, before you actually go on, so you can expound it. You have enough time to expound your content. So don't just drop the point and then move on to the next one, and then you drop another one and then move on to the next one. If two of you presenting, that is also another skill that you have to learn. That, you know what, I have to be able to leave room for the other person to speak, and then I have to know when to interject, the right time to interject, and we have to have a good chemistry, okay? So that means if we are researching, we have to be able to come back and reconcile our notes, so that we know, okay, after this point we're going to talk about this point, we're going to talk about this point, who calls for the break, and then who takes us back on air, and then who seals the program, who finishes the program at the end, or who starts the program, so that we have an order of some sorts, so that when we start speaking, and someone can actually, when you can tell the other person that, you know what, sometimes when I start speaking and I've run out, sometimes I don't know how to actually stop myself. I keep speaking irrelevant things. So you're like, you know what, please jump in. Or you can even see me that, you know, things are not going well. Please jump in, okay? That chemistry is needed. That means you have to be able to find time and work together, read together, and be able to create a program, okay? And that is for co-presenting, if you have someone, and even TV. You have to know that, okay, when someone asks me a question, I just don't have to answer a point and then keep quiet. I can give a point, I can illustrate, I can give an example about it, and I can actually go ahead with another point. This person it doesn't have to be a Q&A on TV. It has to be a conversation. And I have to even give my host time to speak. Okay, if it's a solo presentation on TV, then you know, okay, guachivuga, guachirimu, that means that you have to do everything, okay? Ask the questions, answer them, illustrate, give examples, and be able to sustain my attention until the end of the show, okay? And that's exactly what happens even in public speaking, because you're up there alone. Whether you have a PowerPoint gives you a breather, because then you can read together and say the next point, you know, we're going to talk about this. But if you're presenting without a PowerPoint, that means I'm locked into their eyes and they're locked into my eyes, and I don't have a breather. The only breather I can create is when I'm cracking a joke, is when I'm illustrating, is when, you know, I'm expounding on a point, okay? But it's one thing after another. That means that resilience also has to be created over time. You have to practice it. You do not just, you know, wake up and say, I'm going to be a public speaker. No. Speak into your mirror. Record yourself on your phone, okay? Speak for an hour. Because then I want to know, the reason as to why we have very few people that are doing the radio program on the mentorship is because these people took the initiative to actually convince me that they deserved to be on radio. They recorded themselves, they, you know, they showed up, they did everything to make sure that I want to be on that radio program. And I was like, because by the time I get to the point of saying, you know what, I trust you with a brand, okay? I trust you that you can answer the questions. I trust you that you can respond to people. I trust you that you can sustain an hour long program, okay? To be able to perform well and to sustain that conversation. That is a person that has practiced, and that is a person that knows exactly what they want, okay? So I want you to be able to make the listener care, talk to one person, be in charge, be confident, okay? Be in charge. Be the driver of this show. Don't speak like, have you ever had someone speak and you're like, they don't have authority? It's like they're second guessing themselves. It's like they're not so sure about what they're going to speak. And have you seen Buffett? Amofere will speak like they own everything in the world. That's why they end up faking people and, stealing people's money, because they're believable, okay? So I want you to be believable. I want you to be in charge, okay? I want you to show your authority. I want you to be confident. People love listening to confident speakers. People love listening, and even if you don't have a radio program, a radio voice, you can train to have a radio voice, okay? Speak, because people want a voice that... even you, when you listen to a person that is speaking in head tone, or a person that is speaking, what is that, a pitch voice? A pitch voice, for example, if I was presenting here and I'm talking in that pitch voice, and I'm like, you people, you have to show your confidence, you have to show that you care, you have to show that, you get tired of my voice, okay? But the moment I settle in and I am breathing well, I'm comfortable, that all that takes practice, and to know that, okay, what is a radio voice, what is a presenting voice. There are people who will tell you that, you know what, your voice is magical. Whenever you speak, I don't want to stop listening to you. Those people have taken time to build that kind of craft, okay? So it takes time to build a kind of craft, to be comfortable. And that is why I introduced Beyond Success, that it will create comfort in us to know that, by the way, we are all human beings that have issues that need to be addressed, but we can actually address it in a very calm way, in a very humble way, and we can help the world, okay? So that's why we have school outreaches. When someone is saying we have an outreach here, and you catch wind of it, or someone tells you about it, jump on, okay? Come, let's go. You'll be given a segment, say something, and expound on a point. The more you speak before people, the more you actually learn to actually expound on your points, give illustrations, and give proper examples for that, okay? And make sure that your microphone, okay, is actually more of your friend. For the people on radio, I usually say your microphone is your teammate, because sometimes you're alone and you just have to laugh into that microphone. You have to smile into that microphone, because people are not seeing you. The privilege or the advantage on TV, people are seeing your face. You look nice. You have a nice smile. So when you smile here and there, oh, the hearts melt, even if you're speaking rubbish. But on radio, people are counting on you to actually make them feel all the emotions, okay, to connect with you, because it's hard to connect. So that means you have to involve them. You have to be warm. You have to be brilliant. You have to be intelligent. You have to approach issues from a point of simplicity. You have to show them that you know what's happening in their world. You have to show them that you even understand current affairs. Quote some of the things that are happening here. Don't be totally detached, like you are in Ukraine and you're talking about totally other things. No, talk about what is happening. But even if this and as in the jargons of every day that people are cracking, so throw those. If you've had something from a boda man, throw it in. Maybe someone has had it and they will crack their ribs, and they, So radio is a bit hard. TV is easier, and presenting or public speaking is a bit hard, because then it intimidates. Then you have a live audience, okay? But they are all worth it, and we all need to learn how to handle them. Okay, so I can see our time running, but make sure that you are yourself, okay? Make sure you are yourself. Don't try to be another person. Don't copy another person's voice. Don't copy how they speak. Don't copy their accent. Be yourself, okay? Be yourself. There are people who have weird voices but also good speakers. So yes, confidence, Your voice is the power. Thank you, coach. Exactly. You can have confidence beats it all. The moment you have and even with the voice, you can do voice training. I've done voice training for so many people. Most of the people that are in Kampala that are radio personalities and TV personalities went through my hands. I literally trained them. So most times I find them and they call me mommy and they call me and I'm like, oh God, I'm not that old. But again, I'm like, I've been at this. I have done radio. Since, what was that? 2002. 2002. So imagine if I started training radio 2002, how many people do I know that are in the media industries? I mean, thousands, okay? Millions of people that are in the media industry. Some of them I meet, I even don't know them, but whenever I give them something solid. So most of the times they're like, I came as an intern, but right now I was given huge responsibilities because of the confidence I exuded. So I even started training things that do not concern radio at all, like confidence and public speaking and all that. And these guys have hit milestones. And I feel so happy. 2002, yes, that's when I started. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can do a lot more, but make sure you are yourself and then train. Speak into your mirror, in your bedroom, speak into your phone, record yourself, listen to yourself, and if you feel like, okay, can record in you send it to me so that I can also listen to it, okay, and be able to guide you on a few things, and be able to, so that you can stabilize. When you go to a place and you're so sure, so many people amongst us have come to me, and even some of the coaches around Kampala, they come to me and they're like, oh, I've been invited in such and such a place to speak, but I feel like, you know what, I even don't know what I'm going to say. I've just come, I just want to have coffee with you so that we can talk and you can give me a few things here and there. And I'm like, I'm not going to give you points, definitely, but let's meet and see what we can come up with. And by the time they leave, they're like, even if the event is tomorrow, I am going to nail it. So I want you to know that it's not only us that are facing the lack of confidence and all that. There's so many people in this world who are facing the same, but again, they keep doing it anyway. Okay, you're afraid. Yes, you have the fear, but you do it anyway. You go ahead and do it. So I want those questions right about now, because I know that if I decide to exhaust everything that I prepared, then we are going to spend a night here. But I don't want us to spend a night here, okay? So I need the questions. Please send them quickly. We have around, I think I will just give five more minutes. I usually don't want to take long because I know I am dealing with married women and I am dealing with people who are busy. Tomorrow you have to work and there's things that you have to do this night in your places of, in your homes. So we have 5 minutes total. You send your question and then we go through it, okay? And when you're speaking, or whether on radio or whether on TV or public speaking, you have to learn to recap and talk about what you talked about, okay, at the end in your conclusion. Because some people are waiting to take notes and some people maybe missed. That is why we usually say that, for those that have just joined us, we are talking about this. That means you keep reminding people of what you're talking about, okay? So that they know exactly what you're talking about. Some of you, and we did talk about this, but many of you are going to do live sessions, and I want you to do live sessions on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. Do live sessions. You can start with 20 minutes or 15 minutes and say, you know what, we are going to talk about attitude for 15 minutes, and you come prepared to talk about attitude in your own way, and then you introduce it, you give us the body, and then you take some questions. And for some of you who can tell me that, you know what, I'm going to have a live sessions, I can actually, be there and just cheer on you and let you know that you're actually doing a good job, okay? So make sure that you review and recap and keep reminding people what you're talking about, because there are usually people that join in as time goes on, so they don't know exactly what is happening at that moment. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, I'll request to stop at this. John Comfort, was great having you. Glad to be here. Good evening, coach and fellow coaches. Oh, glad to be here. That is Aine Catherine, Nalunga Maleg, Kajambo, and Hilda. Glad to have you here as well. Hello, coaches. Jem Kakembo Mbukalacha. Yes, I think I have. I actually don't know what the actual word means, the Kalacha, but I know there are people who speak on top of their voices. If it has another meaning, I don't know. Karunji Josephine, you're saying good evening, Major Coach, all the coaches on this live. Nancy Achayo, good to have you. Murunji Caroline, good to have you. And Mirembe Sumaya, glad to be here as well. Oh, Mchala Nairan, Sadusenyo Kulava. And then Holy Zenrina, and then Little Winnie Foundation, good to have you. Okay, so so many of us. Aisha, you're saying, how do you manage a panic mode in an introduction? How do you manage a panic mode in an introduction? Now, that is inevitable. In some of the past some of the past presentations that we talked about public speaking, I told you that even the best of public speakers in the world has fear. Okay, so when you fear, don't think that maybe it's just me. No. Even the best of the public speakers in the world, they get the fear and the panic mode sets in. But remember, sometimes it sets in for some people it sets in more than others, okay? And they're incapacitated because of the panic mode. Like their voice can't come out, their legs are shaking, their hands are shaking. Even when they hold a paper, they're holding a paper, but the paper is, doing this, and then they start sweating, and then before you know it, the hands are sweating, they can't even hold a pen, and they're just, they're losing it, okay? But I want you to know that just like I said, that so many people fear, and but again, people are counting on you in this moment, and this is your calling, and you're not called to be perfect. No, you are called to actually do what you can. So I don't want you to put so much pressure on yourself to be elegant and to be exquisite and to be, no, do not put pressure on yourself. I want you to come and know that the people in the room, they're those that understand more, better than you. They're those that have books more than you. They're those that, are high-end more than you. But why were you the one invited? There is something that someone saw inside of you, okay? So I want you to be able to breathe, okay? I want you to be able to breathe. The moment you can breathe and stabilize, okay, and be able to shorten your introduction to just your name, what you do, okay, and what you're going to talk about, those are the most crucial things. You're like, I'm Bahati Hilda Sabiti, and I'm a relationship expert and people developer, and we are going to talk about how to overcome fear. Okay, and you've introduced yourself, because the more you prolong it, the more the fear shows. Okay, and when you come and you're not yet ready to start speaking, do not start speaking because you think people are looking at you. No, you can actually take time and look at your notes, and because preparation beats everything. If you know you're the kind who panics, make sure that you prepare well before time. Go through it again and again, and make sure that you have your points well noted. Do not use a paper. Use a notebook, okay? A heavy notebook. Like I have notebooks on my desk. This is a planner, but it's heavy enough. So when you list your points and you go with your notebook and you place it there, if you have panic mode and panic attacks, don't bother with an iPad, because believe me, you are going to jeopardize yourself on stage. Don't go with your notes on the phone. Believe me, you'll even fail to open your phone. Okay, go with your notes, and most of these planners usually have those those thingies that are usually in there. That I don't know, I think I removed mine. They usually have those what should I call them? Okay, my babies usually pluck them out, but they're usually strings that you can mark that this is where I wrote, so that you don't have to fumble looking for the page. When you're in panic mode, you know you can fail to to see a page, okay? So I don't want that to happen to you. Write in a planner, write in a notebook, in a proper notebook. Make sure that you have that string in the place exactly where you have written your notes. When you get there, the first thing for you to do is to be able to open where your notes are. Lay it straight on the table, okay? And if you need to take a water, please go ahead and ask for water and say, you know what, please, I need some water, okay? And then go ahead and introduce yourself. Make the introduction very small, very short. Do not include all the things that you need to include. Make sure that you include only the important things, okay? Then you can go ahead and start. Now, some people start their content. I have stuck to the AC because I don't want to be hot, but the AC is actually making me cough even the more. Now, for most people, they will start with a joke, they will start with a question, they will start while they calm their mind down. So if you anticipate that you're going to get to panic somehow, you can you can start with a question. But remember, a question also has to be asked in a very confident way, in a way that shows that this discussion is actually heading somewhere, so that people don't just look at you into your Bamalida Mudde. But shorten the introduction, and after that, go straight into the point that today we are talking about this. And make sure that you have your points outlined. Don't write paragraphs, okay? Because when you read an outline, you're going to be able to engage your brain to remember that outline. And so write your outlines and make sure that you write more points than you need. Because when you get into a panic mode, you'll even forget how to do the examples, illustrations, and stuff like that. So if you have the more points, that means you are good to go to actually do the presentation. So yeah, make sure that you breathe, steady yourself, and speak to yourself that this is your time, this is your calling, and you are the one that deserves to be in that place to do the work that you are going to do. Okay? And if you have someone that you believe in, you can actually move with them, and whether they remain backstage or they remain seated waiting for you, because looking at that person is going to give you reassurance. Okay. Okay. The last remarks are hardly 30 seconds. How to handle that? And I enjoy my live sessions once a month. Thank you. The last remarks are hardly 30 seconds. How to handle that? Okay. I enjoy my live sessions once a month. Oh, interesting. So, Philson, you've never told us that you have live sessions. Oh, I'm the only one who is left out. Please, you should let me know. But when you say that the last remarks are hardly 30 seconds, how to handle that? Now, 30 seconds, clearly you've been speaking all these points, you've been speaking. Now I want you to be able to choose what is the most important. And sometimes you don't have to choose prior or before. Sometimes it's in the moment, because let me tell you, sometimes you can say things and you even surprise yourself. You're like, I'm the one who said all these things. And then at the end of the day, you're able to, for example, yesterday we were on the Twitter spaces, we were talking about depression and mental health. And we talked about so many things, but it dawned on me that people don't even know how these things, the symptoms, how panic attacks and depression and PTSD, as in how they present themselves, schizophrenia, how they present themselves. So when they called for a parting shot, I just spoke randomly about the signs. I was like, I want us to be very vigilant and know that if you are the kind who is having insomnia, you're forgetful all the time, you're not sleeping, your eating has changed all of a sudden, you know, there's something that is stressing you at work and that is prolonged stress, I want you to watch out for those things, because those are symptoms that something is wrong and you need to actually address it. And that was my parting shot. But I mean, I could have spoken about so many things, but in that moment I felt this was so important. So whatever is important to you in those 30 seconds, make sure is what you actually pour out. And sometimes your parting shot can include giving out your numbers, and you're like, okay, I want us to be very vigilant. If you're dealing with homes, if you're dealing with marriage, if you're dealing with relationships, let's make sure we get the help that we need. That is enough parting shot. And in case you need me, find me on all social media platforms. Philson, so and so, and then my number is 0757117117. And you have given your parting shot. You have given us where to find you, and that is a very good parting shot. But you are telling people, get the help that you need. You are telling you are telling people, love yourself more than anything else. As in, look for your priorities and make sure you arrange your priorities. Have the best attitude in life. So the biggest parting shots are actually very short, precise, but driving them or driving the people to where you want them to be. I enjoy my live sessions once a month. Thank you. Okay, Ruth. How do I speak confidently in the big crowd? Because making friends in real life is hard for me. I know. But the moment as we go on doing this favor, the moment we go on doing this, you will realize that, by the way, I can come out of my cocoon. I don't necessarily have to make friends. I don't know if you know about, but I'm an introvert. I'm not the kind who loves making friends. I don't have people that I call, you know how people have cocoons and cliques of Simani ladies, Simani, we hang out on weekend, Simani we are doing, I don't have that. So my hangout is with Tim every other time, and every other day is with Tim. And then when I have a family like you, then you get to be my hangout. So that is how bad and terrible I am at creating friends. But again, give me a microphone. The moment you discover your purpose, the moment you go through the assignments, like we talked about, right, the 50 problems that people in your niche, the people that you want to talk to, are going through. The moment you are clear about that, when someone gives you a microphone, you will never know where the words are coming from. Okay? Will there be fear? Yes. But when you start speaking, the fear will evaporate. Why? Because you're speaking about the topic that touches your heart, about the pain that you have gone through, about the pains that people are going through. And you will even find yourself shooting out of time. And you'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I've used more time than I have. Why? Because it is your calling, it's your purpose. So what we have to nurture is our calling and purpose, and clarify it, and know our target audiences, know what interests us, know what we love to talk about, know for sure, beyond a shadow of doubt, that we are doing the right thing. Then that confidence will come by itself. You will never know where it came from. Okay, so Millie, okay, let's see. Millie, you're saying, good evening, Major Coach. What voice exercise can I do to deepen my voice? When I do, I slow and heighten my voice without shouting. Thank you. Okay, what voice exercise? Now, Millie, so unfortunate that we started this mentorship during the heat of the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, I also got into my own issues, okay? For those of you that know. But I'm looking at a time where we will be able to actually gather and do public speaking together in a room, a group of people that will be, willing. For example, if we are 30 of us and we are seated somewhere and we are given topics and you come and present, even if it's for 3 minutes, we critique, you speak, because a person you have to speak from your stomach. Even as I speak right now, because I'm used to it, I don't speak from my neck. I speak from my stomach. Right now, I've used a lot of energy that I feel some pain, because in my condition, I'm not even supposed to be speaking this much. I'm supposed to be on bed rest, but I'm rebelling the doctor's orders. Now, the moment you speak from your stomach, and you can practice this at home, and you are loud enough, okay? And because those things of when you go to somewhere quiet and then you shout and then you do what? No, I don't believe in that. But I believe that you can actually take hot things. You can take hot water with lemon, and then to clear your vocals, and you can be able to speak into your mirror and speak speak into your phone, and before you know it, you will go on improving. That how you started is not how you will be. You speak from your stomach, and you speak with authority, and you speak with emphasis, and you speak with, you speak like you mean it, okay? Like I am speaking right now. Otherwise, being that we are here and it's a live session, I should have been speaking, you can speak with emphasis. You can speak, with an oomph. You can, but that's not how I do my things, okay? So I want you to be able to, yes, a time will come, we'll do those practices, but for now, do them on your phone and send me a sample if possible, so that we can actually do it together, or I can be able to show you how to do it. Annette, I can speak for the world. I need to learn how to control it. You're saying I can speak for the world. I need to learn how to control it. I need to know what you meant, my dear Annette. Is it that you speak too much? I want to be able to know that. Coach, thank you for this. Oh, yeah, glad to have you, Coach Rusinjo. It's been a long time. I think after I go through my phase, we should be able to do a coffee and talk. And John Comfort, these sessions are really helpful. Thank you. Philson, I almost forgot. I am a fast speaker and I'm afraid of losing some people on the way as they listen, because I have gotten a couple of complaints. Yes, the same happens to me. I don't speak slowly, and for those of you that have followed me for quite some time, I've also gotten some complaints. But I make sure that I compensate that with clarity of speech and clarity of intonation, and definitely the elaborations and examples, and the humor, and just being able to get in and out of the flow, okay? Because there are so many things that you can do, but definitely they need a lot of practice, and you doing this over and over and over again. But I don't know how to speak slow. The moment I slow down, I feel like I am dying. I feel like my points are evaporating. I'm even forgetting certain things. And that is who I am. So you cannot change so much who you are, but again, you can be able to know where the emphasis needs to be put. And let me tell you this, after some time, you will discover that you're not in a rush. You'll discover that you're in charge. Your confidence levels are going to grow too high, that even if I came and you gave me an hour, I can speak for 30 minutes. And if what I have on my heart is exhausted, that is it. I'm going to go away. Like, you'll be in a mode of, I am not impressing. I am here to give wisdom, and I'm going to give it to the best of my knowledge, and I will walk out of here happy and content. Now, that also changes the tone, the intonation, even your speed, okay? A person that is dropping bombs of knowledge upon bombs of knowledge, you realize that, like, you get it. And that has happened so many times when I'm speaking to a certain group of people, and I'm in this mode of emphasizing and dropping nuggets and giving them wisdom, and like I feel time is freezing and I don't have to rush, and it comes automatic. It comes automatic. But right now, you cannot limit yourself, because the moment you try to limit yourself, you're not going to give what you need to give. Okay? So Philson, I want you to grow into the tactics. I don't want you to cut it short and just say, you know what, no, I'm going to slow down. So next time they ask me to speak, I'll be like, I am Philson Maliza, and we are going to talk about relationships. Let me tell you, that would be a totally different person. Just remember, I told you, be you. If you're a fast speaker, if you speak English that is quite excellent, go ahead and speak English that is very excellent, okay? And so be you. Do not change you. But as time goes on, there are so many things that are going to change about you that you will not even notice. because as the confidence grows and as the knowledge grows, as the wisdom grows, as in you come back into your real authenticity, like you're comfortable in your skin, like you're not impressing anyone, like no one is chasing you, and it's so sweet to actually be in that moment. I mean, those moments these days more than I'm in the moments of rush. Right now I even feel like if you call me on a panel, siwakanira kuogera, like I don't have, if you give me the chance I will speak. If you don't give me a chance, I will not speak. Like I am not rushing. I don't want to steal other people's shine. Because I don't need to steal another person's shine. I need to be able to shine on my own. So when you give me 2 minutes, I'll speak for 2 minutes, and that will be it. And I'll have given the most value, the value that I really needed to give. So we grow with time. Okay. Yeah, the cough is too much, but we work with our cough. Okay. So that is Cope Sinja. You're saying, what is the best time to bring in dark points of your life? Okay. Now, definitely that is the illustration time. The dark moments of your life. And I want you to be able to mature in this storytelling, because the moment you tell your stories too quickly, then people don't get to attach value to them. The moment you give your stories as you go along, and you don't just give us the whole story at a go, but you pick out a moment. And if you're talking about a depression, for example, and you're like, you know what, do you know what, I mean, people go through panic attacks all the time, but do you know how a person that is going through a panic attack feels? And you try to elaborate, and you're like, I will tell you because I have been there. It feels like getting lost in the wood, getting into the bush, and you know your way out, but after some time, as you go, it gets dark. It starts raining, and then you cannot even come out. You don't see the sunlight. You are lost in there. You're hearing nothing about only the crickets, and it's so puzzling, because now you don't know your way out, and yet you got yourself there. And so a person that is going through a panic attack feels, I'm about to die. I'm drawing my last breath. It seems I'm not useful anymore in the world. It seems the whole world has conspired to kill me. It seems like I'm not needed anymore. No one loves me, and no one can fight for me. How they feel the moment you explain that, you have brought your dark story. You have actually told us that you went through a traumatic thing, or you went through a panic attack, but you're like, you know what, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And then you talk about how you healed through the panic attacks, and what kind of words, what kind of affirmations, what kind of videos did you watch? What kind of material did you read? How did you self-heal? Or who helped you to heal in that journey? What did they use? So you see, you have talked about panic attacks. You have brought in your story because you've told them, let me tell you, let me give you a glimpse, because I have been there. I have gotten lost once. I have panicked and thought that was the last day I was breathing. But guess what? It dawned in the morning and I was still here. And it dawned another morning and a year has passed and 2 years have passed. And guess what? I did not die. I am still here. So, my friend, you were asking about that. Make sure that you... The best time is when you are actually illustrating or giving an example, and then you bring it from a personal perspective, and make sure that you bring in some of these things after you have matured a bit in your brand, because people attach value. Then they're like, Remy wabaya ita muchino, then actually nangenja chitamu. Yeah, I prepared my notice on the phone and pressed it hard. It went off. I prepared my notice on the phone and I pressed it and it went off. That happens. And let me tell you, when it goes, you can enter a panic mode of, okay, you even forgot, you will forget what you read, you'll forget what you researched, you'll forget everything, and you will be angers. And that is why I told us, own the material. Own the material. As in, when you're reading as in read in form of stories. For example, point number one, if you attach it to a story, or if you attach it to, someone has ever gone through it, it will be so easy for you to remember, Flavia went through this, and that is what I was going to speak about. And talk about normal things. That is going to help you. Normal things. You normalize things that you don't even need notes, but you put them there just for guidance. And you're like, you know what, I have these 5 points. I don't have to give them in their chronological order. No, I can give random points and I will be good to go. And that is why I said we have to be creative and engage our minds. When you're talking about let me say, whatever it is, maybe parenting, maybe you're talking about success, or making more money, or whatever it is, but speak from okay, and create those points one by one. I know I have done it millions of times, and to the point that I don't even need to research. And they come off as natural and down to earth, and everyone is able to understand. Okay, so I want you to be able to back it up with that. I laughed at you because I know that happens. It has ever happened to me, and I can just imagine that moment. Sorry about the cough. Thank you. My introductions are always with low vibe, but as I go on, it hits up. Is it panic? Definitely it is panic and fear. But remember how you introduce, we said it gives you a very good entry point into how people are going to listen and how they're going to take the information. So I want you to be able to come in with a vibe. To I got a vibe. Make sure that you come in with a vibe and watch it take a move, you free up. You free up, because abantu yourself up, you come and you're like, you know what, so glad to be here, I'm glad you came out, we're going to have a chat. Okay, simplify it. Don't say I'm going to be speaking and I'm going to be, your facilitator for the evening. No, tell them we're going to have a chat, and I know by the time we leave we'll have learned a lot. And if you have something to contribute, please don't hesitate. Raise your hand. I am Sinje so and so, and I am a coach in this and this and this and this. I'm married to one man, and we have this number of children, and my passion goes out, my heart goes out to the woman out there, and how to develop yourself. And then batandikako. The thing is, you just decide what kind of mood you want to bring, and you bring that mood. Okay. Okay, my introductions are always low. Don't allow that. As I speak so fast, it's okay to speak so fast. Will come when you'll slow down, but for now, be you. This has done me well, Major Coach. Thank you. You're welcome, my dear. I'm a fast speaker. That is all right. People will understand you. Speak from the stomach, not from the throat. Noted. Thank you, Coach. I am looking forward to our coffee. Amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Own the material is my take home. Exactly. Be creative and engage your mind. Exactly. And let me tell you, sometimes you can go to speak, you prepared your things, but something else comes up, and you have to, we also have to know, and this is the last one, I promise, this is the last one. I've taken so much time. The spirit of discernment, okay? You can go to a place with prepared notes, but when you get there, your spirit discerns that these people need a different thing. So are you going to give them what you prepared, or you're going to give them what is relevant? You give them what is relevant. That means creativity, okay? That means taking care of them, and that means getting into another flow altogether. So, I promised, and I didn't keep my promise because the questions were many, but I love you all. Until the next session, I'll say good night and have a great night.